Hey guys, welcome back. I'm back with another update video on my 2016 Honda Accord Coupe 6.6. It's been a little while and I actually have quite a few things to talk about today, so that's cool, I guess. If it sounds like I'm a little bit under the weather, it's because I am. I actually caught COVID this week, so I'm just kind of doing my own thing. There's nobody here, so really the only thing I can do this week is film YouTube videos, so that's what we're doing. But anyway, this is my 2016 Accord Coupe. Like I mentioned, I've had it for about 10 months now. It was really tough to find a blue 6.6, as I mentioned in the first video I made on it. And I am over the moon with this car. I absolutely love it. But we are going to go through everything that has changed with it in the last since the last time I made a video, which I think was back in May. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with it. So as you can see, she looks pretty much the same. I'll go ahead and start with a little walk around of the car. I haven't really done anything different with the exterior of it. I am pretty happy with the way it turned out. So that's kind of the way she goes. But I just washed it this morning for you guys because I was planning on making this video, so nice and clean. And it's winter time right now, so it's actually pretty tough to keep a car clean like this, but you know, it is what it is. It was the first wash in about a month, so it needed to be done. But as we transition over to the right front of the car here, I want to talk about my first topic, and that is the fact that this car has been in an accident. Now, I think it was back when this car was like new. Maybe it was like a year old or something like that. I can't remember, but this car was in an accident, and so it was repaired on the right front, and that kind of caused some issues. Now, if we take a look a little bit closer at the car here, you can see this right fender. If you look right here, you can actually see a touch-up paint mark, and that is something I had to do. This one I believe was touched up by the dealership, but if we look down here at this one, and it might be tough to see on video because I did a decent job, but you can see right here the paint started peeling off the edge of the fender here, and it started to look really bad. So I decided to go buy some Honda touch-up paint, some Still Night Pearl paint, and I touched that up. It doesn't look perfect, but you know, from a distance you can't even really tell, so that's kind of disappointing, to be honest. You know, they didn't exactly repair the car perfectly, so that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And then the second thing I'd like to mention with regards to the accident repair that I had to deal with is the fog light. So when I first got the car, a couple of months later, I washed it, of course, a couple of times, and my right front fog light here started to fill itself with water, and so that was kind of crappy. Now, I knew at the time when I first got the car that the fog light connector on this side was a little bit damaged. They didn't end up replacing the pigtail, and they just kind of stuck it back into the fog light with a little bit of silicone. And of course, you know, that I suspected that may be the issue, but I just basically ordered a new fog light and put it back in and re-siliconed it myself, thinking that that would have solved the problem, but unfortunately it didn't. The same thing happened over again, and so I knew that I actually had to fix it correctly. So I went on HondaPartsNow.com and I ordered a new pigtail for the fog light, and I spliced it in properly. The old one was severely damaged, presumably from the accident, and it needed replaced. And thankfully, since I've done that and replaced the fog light again, I haven't had any issues. So pretty happy about that, but that was kind of annoying to have to deal with. But you know, it is what it is. It's fixed now, I hope. So I have working fog lights again, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, like I mentioned, nothing really different on the exterior of the car. Everything else I have to talk about is either mechanical or on the interior. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pop under the hood. All right, hood is open. So let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. So the biggest difference you may notice here is that we have a new intake manifold in the car. And so I finally got rid of that plastic engine cover I had in here. Of course, I had a painted manifold on my last 9th gen, but since it was an automatic, I could not transfer the manifold over because it has extra vacuum lines on the manual car, presumably for the motor mount in the rear, because they are vacuum controlled on the 6.6. But anyway, got a new manifold. As you can see, this one was done by SMP Performance, a guy based out of Florida. It was powder coated red, as you can see, wrinkle red, with a black carbon top plate. So it's painted black with a carbon fiber wrap over it. I think it looks really good. And it was also taken apart, cleaned, and it had a light port and polish done to it. But otherwise, it's just a factory manifold. I just wanted it because it looks a lot better than that stinking engine cover that I had in here. So there you have it. That was the main thing. And then while I was having that done, I also, I brought it to the dealership to have that done. And so while it was there, I also opted to do a valve adjustment because the car is now at 102,000 miles currently. So it was due. That was one of the last things that I was still having to do as part of the around 100,000 miles service. I already did the timing belt and the oil pump and all that other stuff. And so the valve adjustment was one of the last things they did. So, of course, both valve covers were removed and the valves were adjusted. Of course, they got me some new valve cover gaskets, so that's nice. So pretty much every seal on this engine has now been replaced, which is cool. And there we have it. They also mentioned, or rather the dealership also did, while the car was in there, a fuel induction service. So I believe they cleaned the fuel system and the injectors and all that stuff. I figured why not? It wasn't that much extra, so it's probably never been done on this car either, given how neglected the previous owner left this car. But that was that, and so that worked out pretty well. The engine is running really, really smooth now. I'm pretty happy with it. And then I also forgot to mention that back when this car was at about 99,000 miles, I replaced the spark plugs myself, or I guess with the help of my friends, because I was actually in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. And so the spark plugs have been replaced as well. And so pretty much everything as part of the 100K service is now done. So this car should be good to go for a while. Of course, I already had all the fluids and stuff changed, and so everything should be good to go. Now, another thing I would like to mention is that I got both front axles replaced, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see them. You might be able to. Yeah, there you go. So that's one of them, one of the brand new axles. Because when you lower cars, sometimes you tend to get a vibration from 25 to 30 miles an hour upon acceleration, and that's due to just the CV joints not being used to the new angle they're at with a lowered suspension. So, it tends to vibrate after that. And so I was kind of putting this off for a while. It was not a huge deal, but I finally got tired of it, so had 2 new axles put in. Of course, that wasn't cheap either, but it is what it is. So there you have it. That is pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else I need to mention under here, other than I hope I don't have to put any more large sums of money into maintenance on this car. I think by this point I'm pretty much done catching up with the previous neglect and lack of maintenance that the previous owner did, and hopefully I can just do fluid and filter changes and whatnot from here on out. But I gave the engine bay a nice little wipe down. It's not perfect, but like I said, it's winter, so I wasn't going to do a full detail on it, but figured I'd wipe everything down the best I could to match the nice new manifold. But that's pretty much it for under here. The car is running pretty great now, and like I said, it looks a lot better with that manifold, I think. So that's pretty much it for the under the hood stuff. I'll go ahead and close that stuff up, and we can go inside the car now. So let's go ahead and take a journey in there. All right, so here we have the interior, looking pretty much the same as the last time, but one thing you may notice is I talked about this in the previous video briefly, but I finally got the steering wheel replaced. The previous one was pretty oily and gouged and just in really, really bad shape, and it also had a bunch of heat damage on the left side from presumably the previous owner smoking in it. So I said screw it, and I bought a brand new OEM steering wheel from, like I said, Honda Parts Now. It's my OE parts supplier online, so there we have it. So I've got a brand new leather wheel in here. It really makes a big difference. It made the car feel brand new, so I was pretty happy that I did that. And that was pretty much it for the interior stuff, I think, but that was a big one, so I really wanted to mention that. If we go ahead and hop in the car here, everything else is looking pretty much the same. Still got my blue 6-speed shift knob, and then we have the carbon fiber wrap on the steering, or the center console there. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same in here. I'll go ahead and start the car up for you guys to round out the video here. There we go. I can now just crack the door a little bit more here. So as you guys can see, the car is currently sitting at 102,431 miles. I got it back with 86,000 10 months ago when I purchased it back in February, so you guys can do the math there. I've been putting a lot of miles on it because I really love it, and it's of course my daily driver. So there you have it. Of course, we still have my Borla exhaust. And we have the 2-step ZMK tuner, as you might be able to tell. But there you have it. That's pretty much it for the interior. Let's go ahead and round out the video by taking a little drive, shall we? All right. So really, what can I say? I mean, I love this car. I've always have. I've been looking for this specific model for quite a long time, as we all know. Of course, this is my third video on the car, so I'm gonna kind of struggle to not repeat myself here, but I mean, I just, I don't know. The 9th gen Accord really scratches an itch for me that no other car really does. I don't really have a desire to purchase another car, so, and this is why. You're going to get with the current conditions that I'm driving in. So there you have it, fellas. Like I said, I plan to hang on to this car for a really long time. It took me a while to find a blue 6.6, and so I'll never be selling this one. So that's pretty much all I have to say in this update video, guys. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.